Hello everybody. Got this old fiddle out and wanted to just tell you a little bit about it. Uh, this fiddle belonged to my great grandpa, George Hamilton Guernsey, who was born in 1862 and he left this world in 1947. It was passed on down to, I guess, my grandpa, Thomas Francis Guernsey, who then passed it along to his eldest son, my dad's oldest brother, George Henry Guernsey. And I had been given another fiddle, an old square-shouldered Hoff, by Vern Trueblood. He's the first fiddler that I ever played any music with. And he gave me that square-shouldered Hoff to get started playing on, and I have since passed that along to another young fiddler. Getting back to this fiddle, the story on it. I started trying to play the fiddle. I'd already played guitar and mandolin for a while, and got so sick of hearing myself that I just couldn't stand it any longer. And I had been playing that square-shouldered Hoff, and I put the thing in the case and put it in the closet. And it stayed there for about 2 months. So one day I was down at my Uncle George's, and he told me, he said, "I've got your great-grandpa's fiddle, and if you learn how to play, I'll give it to you." And so that was my incentive to put up with my horrible sound and to work on it until it got more tolerable. But anyway, the fiddle is a German fiddle. It's a factory fiddle and handmade, but maybe done in stages by different workers in a violin factory. It's got nice wood. It's got a decent spruce top. Not super tight grain, but fairly good. But the wood on the ribs is nice and stripy. There's one place here where the chin rest goes on, where the grain is real, almost goes into a burl. But then it's got nice stripe. It's got a real narrow and a whole lot of stripes on the back. And so that maple, I guess, probably is European. The neck is also very stripy on this one. And the scroll, if you're looking straight on at it, is crooked. It's twisted. So, at any rate, this fiddle had a really deep, dark sound to the point that I didn't really care for the E and A strings on it. The D and G were real strong, but the E and A were muddy. So I got a different fiddle, and then I put this one away. Years later, my friend Gary Cornett, who's a luthier in Louisville, Kentucky, good friend of mine, told me he thought he could help it. I said, "I think that the top is too thin on this fiddle." And so he figured out a way to laminate what he called a breastplate in and around where the sound hole and bridge area is. So he took the top off and found out that it was a made-in bass bar. In other words, it was just scooped out around this narrow, long piece of wood that ran lengthwise with the top. So he planed that out of there and made this real thin veneer of spruce and glued that into the inside of the top. So essentially this top on this fiddle is plywood or laminated. He also put a new bass bar and a sound post patch, and one of the other things he did that changed the sound pretty dramatically was he opened up the sound holes, made them a little bit bigger, and that allowed some of the treble frequencies to be stronger. I'll play you something on this one. turned out to sound pretty good, I think. Still got the good full sound on the D and G, and then the A and E are more clear and brilliant after Cornet worked his magic. Anyway, just thought you might find that interesting. Have a good one, quarantiners.